stable job, make a lot of money, and I had an experience at a camp. I was hanging out with some kids, and I got to really feel and see the injustice they experienced, and I just realized it wasn't right. It's not fair that a certain group of kids, because of where they live, where they grew up, don't have access to education. There's a huge gap between private education and the public school system. Many times kids are graduating well below reading level. They're not passing the tests that are needed to get into college, and that's just not right. I saw the need. I felt the pain that these kids were having. I had to check my heart and I say, if I wasn't willing to do something about it, who would be? When you hear about education, a lot of times you hear there's this program, they train a teacher, they spread them out, and there you have it. MTR is unique because before you're a teacher by yourself in the classroom, you have an entire year of experience. Within that year, there's 3 components that they really focus on. The first is the internship. You are in the classroom with a mentor teacher from Monday through Thursday. You're grading papers, you're teaching lessons, you're really interacting with the students and building those relationships. The second part, there's some master's work that we do, theory, techniques, just practical how to be a great teacher. And then there's this idea of community, where we focus on character building, we focus on leadership skills. So as we go into these schools, we're not only able to be great teachers, but great people who don't just change test scores, but we also really infiltrate the culture of the entire school. So not only are we just getting excellent training, we're also being placed in a community of great teachers, great role models, and many times great friends who are able to really join alongside with us in this work. So the vision of MTR is that a kid could go from kindergarten through 12th grade and have a great teacher. Just here at Kingsbury Middle School, last year we had 1 MTR teacher. This year we have 8 MTR teachers. And next year we'll have 14 MTR teachers who will make up over 70% of the faculty. The entire culture of the school is changing. The administration, the students, and other teachers on staff can really see the difference that MTR is making in these communities and in these schools. The vision I have for my students is that they would go on, they would be risk takers, they would be great fathers, great husbands, they would be women of courage and women of value. They would give back to their communities, they would feel loved, they would know that they can accomplish anything they set their minds to. So please, consider coming to Memphis, joining in the work here. We need great teachers, we need people who are passionate, and we need individuals who are willing to give their lives away and come to serve for the great need.
All right, thank you for that. Y'all give it a round of applause for our... Y'all were so much more attentive than the rap showcase. Rap showcase was on it. Lecrae was trying to tell you about the kids. Y'all was just talking and texting and tweeting and stuff. Y'all don't care about the kids, man. I care about the kids, man. All right, so real quick, like I said, my name is Joseph Solomon. I'm a poet as well. This is why I have the credibility to MC a poetry show, I guess. I don't know why I had the credibility to MC a rap showcase, but whatever, we're gonna go with it. And how this is gonna work, we got a few contestants here today, this afternoon. They are the cream of the crop in a sense. We had a whole bunch of contestants send in videos, and then we narrowed it down to 8 poets. And the poets you're gonna hear today, this afternoon, I wanna say tonight so bad. This afternoon, you will hear the people who have been narrowed down. And so how this is gonna work, they all have a 5-minute limit. Okay, which is really long for a poem, by the way. It's like in normal poetry, we're giving y'all grace. In normal poetry slams, like 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 seconds tops is it. And after that, you start getting docked and we just stop listening to you. So cut your mic off at 3:30. So they got 5 minutes and they're gonna be graded on, what are they gonna be graded on? We're gonna have our judges over here, I'll introduce them in just a second. They're gonna be graded on content, writing, delivery, and presentation. Content, what it's about, the writing, the actual style, the delivery, and the presentation of the poem. And so I want to go ahead and introduce our really good poets. First off, we're going to start with the reason why we started this show late, because he was late. Y'all please give it up for... Me and him go at it, man. Y'all give it up for the strongest poet you know, Ezekiel. Ezekiel be trying to adjust the microphone like, so light. It's so light. He do push-ups before he do his poems. I saw him. Okay. Y'all give it up. That's Ezekiel. He's part of the PIA tour. Y'all probably heard of that. The PIA tour that goes around the country. So dope. Killing it across the country and across the globe. Also, I call her your favorite poet's favorite poet. Y'all please give it up for Ito Han Omalere. This girl can write her tail off. She's so humble too. She'll like write the most fire poem you ever heard in your life. She's like, I don't know what you think. I mean, I guess it's okay. I feel like Ito. Smug as fire. So she's amazing. And then also, what part of the PIA tour as well, y'all please give it up for Preston Perry. I didn't have no jokes ready for Preston. I don't know. Maybe I'll get you later, man. I'm a brew on it. All right, so real quick. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. I thought about, see, normally when we do these poetry slams, there's a... Can you turn this on? Can you turn this microphone on? Cool, all right, cool. All right, so normally when we do these poetry slams, we do like a sacrificial poet. I'm gonna do this, I didn't know I was gonna do this. I'm gonna let y'all judge me, okay, and put myself out on the line. I don't know if you have enough piece of paper for that, but if just write in pencil. Okay. If so, I'm gonna let y'all judge me. But don't actually judge me, give me a really good score, okay? Because I'm sensitive, all right. So basically how this works is I wanna let our poets, our judges know a thing about score creep. They're very familiar with that. We know we wanna make sure that the score is gonna be standard all the way through. Poets, y'all gotta know that no matter what order you go in, you gotta kill it, right? Right, don't be scared, gotta kill it. And also we feed off your energy in the crowd as well. So let me hear you snap your fingers like this. Do not do that today, okay? Please do not snap your fingers. It's so corny. So you just respond accordingly. You respond how you feel. Y'all black, a lot of y'all know how y'all do in church. Just don't be, do whatever you feel is appropriate for this context, is what I'm saying. All right. The old poem. People are standing in line to buy a pair of shoes that came out when I was 9 years old. Girls are rocking Poetic Justice braids. Dudes are rocking styles that came out before Brenda had a baby. That's a Tupac reference for those of y'all who don't get it. Slim suits, polo boots, skinny ties, retro jeans, dad hats, bucket hats, afros. Somewhere, some stonewashed jeans from Goodwill have found salvation in the closet of a girl who loves trendy fashion. And on the sidewalk, there's a boy with a high top fade and 2 parts on the side, and he ain't even old enough to remember cassette tapes or how to rewind them on a Walkman. You had to turn it over and press fast forward and then turn it back over and check to see. See, there was a time when oldies, there was a time, I remember this poem. There was a time when consciousness loved hip hop, and Miss Lauren gave us warnings of old school bass lines like, girls, you know you're better. Some guys are only, boom, boom, yeah, that, boom, 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 yeah, that, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, there was a time when oldies were just goodies and retros were not retros, and dudes tucked their Jordans under, and dudes would tuck their new Jordans under platinum FUBU jeans, and I hope those never come back. Definitely won't now because of what Bill Cosby did. It's awkward. See, there was a time when oldies were just goodies, when retros were not retros, and 2 minutes and 42 seconds were all you really needed to tell her how you really feel on a song, Darling, You Send Me. We love old couples because even though it's kind of weird when 2 old people kiss, I realize now the lips they are tasting spoke vows that stood firm through the years like stone columns in a museum, and their love and their pain have earned every scar and every wrinkle on their skin. We love old TV shows that defined our childhood, so watching seasons of Fresh Prince seems like a great investment, maybe because we feel like we're buying back some of the fun we sold to adulthood. We love grandmothers, because even though their frail hands began to shake, her love always stood steady, and she would sing songs. She would sing songs you wouldn't understand unless you done been through something, unless you done seen God make a miracle out of misery. See, we love the old, we love the classics, the relics, the vintage, the loyal companions, because they remain unfazed by phases. We love them because we trust them. We trust them because we know them. And I know this because I know God. So we love the old because they've proven themselves. And we admire how they found a way to protest against time itself. When the tidal waves of years came crashing in, beating against their doors, they did not fade back, just like the God who made them. When the test of time, winds of trends, seasons of society would desire to wash them out, they rebelled by simply remaining the same. And even when their voices seemed unheard, they were always there. They were always there. And unlike God, sometimes people change. People change, and so do their ideas. But as if I'm still behind the times, the world still asks me why I still love my God. I tell them something that is timeless can never become outdated. All right, it's a sacrifice. I was a sacrificial poet. All right, so judges. So I felt like that was like a 5-star, out of 5. So that's like, so y'all want to give feed? Y'all want to say? Just go ahead and score it.
So you're my friend.
No, that's not how you start off. We're friends, right? Okay, okay.
Like we're friends in real life, but I feel like you already know I love the poem. I've seen you do this in open mics. I really think you are one of the best poets in being relatable in your pieces.
Oh, thanks, man.
Don't you guys agree?
Wow. Oh, thanks. I feel like I'm in like an encouragement moment. All right, this is great.
Not everybody can change into being funny and then being serious in the same poem.
Thanks, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I was tempted just to say all mean things, and this is why.
Do we? I do.
Gosh.
I want y'all to get warmed up, man,
Yeah.
so I can say mean things to them. Sorry.
Yeah. The poem was good, man.
I really love stood steady. And other times when you put like clear and strong personification on things that are like faithfully familiar to people, like love, like it makes you hold on to it. And yeah, good job.
Thanks. All right.
Performance-wise, man, I think it's really dope how you were able to, you fell off a little bit on memorization.
Yeah.
However,
is this payback time now?
However, I love you, man. I got to get you back. All right, but real talk though, real talk. The way you didn't make it cringy. When people forget, and to be professional like you made it a part of the poem. You kept it like in the segments that you did that. You kept it real jokingly fun and cool that I forgot, and that's a beautiful thing. Like you didn't make it. You didn't show or expose it in a way that made you look silly. You brought us into it and brought us into the joke. That man, this is the old poem. Boom, 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 boom. Kept going, throwing jokes in it. Helped us caused us to sing with you. By the end of the day, we felt you. And I think that's a beautiful thing to be able to have that balance and pick it back up like that. That's dope. Yeah.
Love you, man.
I told you, man, you got to be a better person.
Appreciate it.
You didn't deserve
Boy,
that
the
critique.
Saints, huh? The Saints. Well, I really love Jesus, so I'm going to take the better road. I don't know about you.
You didn't deserve that critique. You didn't deserve that.
You don't deserve my critique. All right, appreciate y'all, man. I want to get to, so what I want y'all to do is like kind of think through how y'all like rated my poem or whatever in that sense, just to kind of give you a feel, and then keep it standard through that. Is that cool? So all right, we're gonna start this thing off really quick with the actual performers of this This poetry slam, y'all ready for that? All right. All right, put some energy in your hands. Go ahead and put some energy in your hands. Please give it up for Deja Peterson.
There is a grief that knows its way around this body. A terrifying flood it was. But I am looking at the tall, slender, coffee-haired ivory officer standing in my backyard anyhow, and he's trying to make logical a blackness like this one. But for some reason, I can't keep from seeing his hands as armor. For some reason, I can't keep from seeing 16 intentional gunshots and brown-skinned babies left for pavement as casket and guilt and isolation and the middle of a road of a northern suburb in St. Louis and the sun. The sun ain't been shining as high as it used to, but we let the wind carry us outside anyhow. There is a grief that knows its way around this body. A monstrous flood it was, as unforgiving and as knee-buckling and as hard to swallow as it was. We did not wake up this morning feeling like a threat. But our peculiarity can do that sometimes, can make people think we are as rigid as our skin is, can make people think we carry bombs in our back pockets, can make police think we are the flood that keeps threatening his hierarchy. And I'm watching the officer, and he's trying to figure out what all this noise is about, and I could see how easy it is for the ground to cradle dead things, and I could see how easy it is to shrink inside yourself, and how the enemy is always inviting himself to processions like these, especially when there's been this much grief. I wanted to tell these officers that I, in fact, could be black and woman and mother and auntie and unmoved and undefeated and unarmed and still be living. I wanted to yell at these officers for not knowing what to expect from me. I wanted to yell at myself for forgetting in that moment who my head is, for forgetting in that moment how to see these officers as protection, how to pretend that this shade did not play a factor in this officer's distance. I am looking at the tall, slender, coffee-haired, small-talked, cross-armed, uncertain ivory officer, and I wanted to kick myself for not going inside sooner. Maybe no one is actually buried underneath this kind of poetry. Maybe the noise we made was that of laughter singing from our lungs, and maybe we only went outside to see how bright the sun had gotten, and maybe the ivory officer wanted to laugh too, and maybe he didn't feel he was threatened after all. But even so, with all of the releasing I have done, with all of the grief that has been forced out of us, I am still here. We are still here, and I'm not sure if this will ever stop stealing your sleep. I'm not sure how beautiful we might find ourselves. I'm not sure what the color we are wrapped in has to do with anything. But there is a grief that knows its way around the body that is wrapped in black, and it is as flood is, all at once and terrifying. But you cannot tell me there's not a fire burning for us to be here. That grief cannot stay here as long as this body remains temple. You cannot tell me that Jesus ain't singing and clapping his hands and stomping his feet and buoyant because we are still laughing, and can't nobody kill that.
Yo. Sheesh. I told her, is this on? Is this on? I get up. All right. I told her, I said, you going first, all right? So that's like the hardest spot to go to, so you're gonna have to bring it. She was like, all right. Did she bring it though? All right, cool. We got it. Y'all got to follow that. That's all I'm saying. Y'all got to bring it. All right. It started. Microphone, please. Sound man. Put up. Sound man.
Testing. There you go. Hey, wife.
Oh.
That was sweet, wasn't it?
Oh, really? Y'all clap for that? Okay. Seriously.
Quick question for you. Have you ever heard of a poet named Dominique Christina? Or have you been inspired by her? I can tell. I can tell because I want to just say this real quick. Some people will hear your writing and think that your writing is deep, and it is not deep. It's very thought-provoking. But the way you use language and your word choice might make people think you're overly deep, but you're not. You just found ways to use language in a very, very beautiful way that is a gift. And just coffee hair, like you had this theme of coffee hair. You use language that invokes imagery in such a beautiful way. Laughter singing from our lungs. Brown-skinned bodies becoming pavement. So instead of saying brown-skinned bodies becoming dead or shot, brown-skinned bodies becoming pavement, right? You found ways to use language in such a beautiful way that invokes imagery, and you have a gift. I'll just say that. You've probably been one of the dopest poets I've heard in a long time. Honestly, I don't really have too many critiques for you. If I can find anything to say was to make a little more eye contact. Your head was kind of up a little bit, but that's kind of a style that some people have. Other than that, you're dope. I don't really have any critiques. Honestly.
Either one. We're gonna do 2 judges per performer.
So he went in on the writing. I think your writing is really beautiful, really well done. I think it was really interesting to note your pace was really good. It's really, I always teach that, like, if you want people to catch something, it's your responsibility to give it to them. So if you slow it down, then you're provoking them to listen. You're telling them, I need your attention because it's worth being listened to. So that's what that does. And also just articulation. You spoke very clearly. That was really, really great. I would have liked to see a little bit more eye contact. But besides that, there's not too much I can say. I think you did a great job. Yeah.
Now please give it up for Deja Peterson.
Have you asked her how she done slam poetry? Have you done slam poetry? Slam poetry? Okay. Yeah. I can tell.
And if there's any poets out there, I tell people all the time, people always ask me, how do I get better at my poetry? You need to be slamming, yo. You need to get in some open mics, you need to be slamming. It'll put you in a position where, like, it'll challenge your writing a lot and your performance as well. And she's shown that. Y'all please give it up one more time for Deja Peterson. She killed it. So we're gonna keep this thing moving. I know this is, Legacy is really known for like hip hop, but I promise you rappers in here can take some notes as well, because these are poetry bars, dog. These some poetry bars. Better pay attention, man. May learn a few things or something. So yo, let's put some energy in our hands already. Put energy in your hands for Ashley, a free poet.
Words be like weights, and I've been bench pressing my lips in hopes muscle memory would kick in at times like now. when breathing becomes random bursts of exhilaration and thoughts freeze under pressure. It's like standing in the library of your own mind when all life has been checked out, acoustics echoing like brass cymbals against mass-loaded vinyl. Mirrors catch me viewing the world through mosaic paintings, visibly broken down. I could see emergency flares staring back at me, wondering if they're detectable. Beauty is hidden in plain sight, but only bestowed to a trained eye. Interactions have become more like case studies. Could anyone sense my obsession of analyzing you? 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 I remember I've been living in May 21st for 2 months now. Mornings begin under the midnight sky, wrestling to get to your white picket smile. Eyes just finished freshly brewing the matters of my heart. His deceiving embrace calms the waves jostling between my purpose and present. The weight of his words anchor purpose into the seas surrounding us, triggering present into full effect. His arms absorbs the kickback my body would encounter, counteracting my natural inclination of resistance. The moon stretched over the back of my body, his hands wrapped tightly around my wrist. Why did I take such risk? Left the window open. He obtained unauthorized access without my permission, should have secured the premises. I shouldn't have to. I blindly trusted and loved you. I protect those that I love, and 2 months later, I'm asked why I'm still trying to protect you. From a system that monopolizes on humanity's downfalls, taking vulnerability as an indication of revenue. Our bodies are assets in which they appraise. Take my story and exploit it for the system's gain. Forcing myself to scrub a stain evidence will argue doesn't exist. What is innocence when the innocent is condemned as guilty? It's gotten hard for me to say what I really want in fear of losing what I feel I partially have. Freedom is fighting to break out of a prison humanity has coerced you to believe. Freedom is fighting to break out of a prison humanity has coerced you to believe doesn't exist. It's fighting to bench press the weight of control, altering the escape of your words. Freedom is fighting, it's believing, it's escaping your May 21st. Freedom, freedom.
Yo! Come on, girl. Come on, come on. Actually, a free poet. Yeah, we got some writers in the building today, y'all. Like some real writers, poets, rappers, artists in general. Take notes. Yo, so we're gonna start off with Itohan this time. Yes, please.
Hi, Ashley. You know I like your writing, Ashley. White picket smile. And I felt like, although there were moments where you clearly were trying to remember, you had a smooth recovery. And I really appreciate that. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like when the audience tries to cheer people on. Maybe it's because when I forget, I don't remember when I'm being cheered on. It makes me more nervous and more anxious.
I told you I don't snap. I heard somebody, come on,
yeah,
you got it.
I get it. Like, we want to encourage them. We want to show love. I would hope every poet that comes to the stage know that we're here to show them love. So You did an excellent job. There was another line, the vulnerability, the revenue line. I was like, I need to have that. I need to have that. But, and I also like purposeful repetition. So your the date, like I will say, it left me with a little curiosity, wanting to know what the significance of that specific date was. But it obviously there's a relationship and a connection there. So yeah, good job.
Indeed, thank you. Thank you, Ito. All right, Ezekiel.
So maybe I'm not a real poet. So, and I'm usually the nice guy, but I will say this. When you have an opportunity within a few minutes to convey what you're trying to convey, obviously, when it comes to writing, you know what you're doing. I think it's very important to be very intentional, especially in the first few minutes. What happened was, for me, was I kind of got what you were saying way later. I'm trying to sift through your beautiful language to find out what you're trying to say, and I'm lazy. I got to a point where I was just like, well, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. So I don't want to do that when you're so masterfully skilled at being able to present what you're trying to say. So be intentional about leaving nuggets. Preston is really good at that. So if you have these runs where you have these beautifully creative things that you're saying, say something very plain and clear so that we are able to attach that to the true meaning of the beauty. And besides that, I love how you're forgetting your lines, but you made it a part of your piece by just repeating yourself. That's okay. It's better than like freezing and saying, forgive me, guys, I don't know my poem. So thank you for doing that.
Don't ever do that.
Yeah. All right.
Good job, Ashley. Thank you so much, Ashley, a free poet. We got some writers in here, y'all. We got some writers. It's heating up. It's heating up. We got a few more poets to go. That's only 2. So y'all please go ahead and make some noise now. Go ahead and make some noise now for Darnell Parks.
Eyes. Eyes are made for seeing. Well, I browse around and I only can find lashes. The Bible teaches me not to get even. Well, my 2020 does not mean that we're tied. It only means that I'm laced with fear inside of my heart, and I can perfectly see that. These sacred scars, they only surrender a shh. Pinky promising never to drop anything, no matter who comes in contact, withholding everything. So do my eyes. They are a storage holding all of this rage. Every tear is compact with pain, and I feel every one of them as they fall from my face. It feels like a blade caressing my cheek as I bleed out joy. I'm all for donating, but let me keep some for myself. I promise you, I'm not being selfish. This all started years ago. When your best friend gave me your number, she said, man, you should probably give her a ring. Let's fast forward. If this was years ago, just to be honest, I would have did some sign language with my finger. I regret giving you that ring. I understand that my pencil lead was not always sharp. That just means that I'm not always right. I had my fair share of wrongs, but what you wrote was wrong. You put my life in a loop. You were an expert in cursive, curving my conversations. Sometimes had me believing the things that I knew that were correct. Could they really be incorrect? You should have received your bachelor's in confusion. Now, my inner state is under construction. My roads need service. Now, my ride or die has to pay for the toll that you put on me. The thing that you called an accident resulted in a toll of one dead body that is now afraid of change. Like, different is the devil, and I wanted no part of that. God gave me vision. I was walking without vision. I was blind, in troubled water, but when I'm able to see, I will part it. but not right now. Not right now, because God gave me a key that behind it had so much joy that I can unlock this door. He gave me a key that can't be copied, no matter how skillful the locksmith. He gave me a key that can unlock the lock upon my heart. And for her, I am petrified. My mouth is ashamed. My lips are trembling. My words are embarrassed. They cannot proceed to go forward. So I hold them back as I hold the woman that I love and tell her that I have problems. Magnified pupils, something so small can turn into something so big. And I just pray that you don't be like my past and have a change of mind on the side, just in case. But she told me that she loved me and that she'll never leave me. And when she said that, I heard God tell me that he loved me, that he'll never leave me. I heard them both clear as day on that day. So don't leave me, abandon me.
That's some, y'all gotta pay attention to the bars. He had like extended metaphors you had to follow, dog. Oh, we still on eyes. Okay, are you okay? All right. Okay. All right, Preston.
So I think that you're a good poet, man. I think that you're a really good performer. As you was performing, I believed you, even when I didn't know what you were talking about. I was like, man, this dude, he been through some things. To be all the way 100, I didn't know what you were talking about for a lot of your poem, but I wasn't I wasn't bored. And you have to be a very good communicator, not to be the clearest writer, but still keep people's attention. So you communicated a lot with your facial expressions, with your body posture, the way you phrased words. I kind of got the feel of what you were saying because of how you said it, which is really, really good. The only thing that I would say is I think that you can do a better job of allowing the audience to, kind of what Ezekiel just said, allowing the audience to pinpoint exactly what you're talking about. Once we know exactly what you're talking about, you're able to just be deep as possible. Like, you can be deep as you want. But like, let us know the foundation of your message first. You could establish that the first 30 seconds of your poem, and then you could just go in. I think that you kind of developed that as time went on. Other than that, I feel like you're a great writer. Even though I didn't know what she was talking about half the time. And you're a good poet, man, so good job.
Oh, dope. Ito, huh? Yeah.
I agree with Preston, and I think that you held my attention the entire time. And I was also like, there were a lot of clever puns also in your writing in the beginning of your poem especially, that I think I just love when people have their own unique ways of expressing their thoughts. But as both my brothers have said, clarity, which is, I've always said, is a struggle of mine. Like, I start in the deep end and then I have to like come up for air. And they've taught me to do that better in my writing, and make sure there are points of clarity. But good job.
Yes, thank you so much, Darnell. Nice job, bro. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. You already put energy in your hands. Put energy in your hands. Please give it up for Sincerity.
Y'all already know. Hold on. Don't call my time yet. Hold on. They didn't know what to do with my look, so they called me ugly. They admired the length of my hair, then touched and smelled in awe. Next thing girls said was, your hair is greasy. I looked at her real nasty Brooklyn like. If I would have known a little better at age 10, I would have told this friend that this same hair is a hair Spaniards pulled, then touched, then smelled as if it was for their amazement. Put on display along with my cheekbones and full lips and almond eyes and everything else that makes me confusing looking. If I would have known a little more, I would have mentioned I'm a product of colonialism, the outcome of the ones who raped and cursed the land, the woman, the men. I was taught to hate me. I was taught that my anger was a reflection of the savage in me, so I hated every bone that they fed to each other, one after another, decade upon decade, for generations and generations and generations. And as this classmate wondered why I look like I do, I tell her, I survived genocide, I survived slavery, I survived the exposition of my body, and even today I'm surviving gentrification, mental change strapping me, and they are still trying to get rid of me. Visible in flesh, I am still here. Ink of blood splattered on my features, and they are still attempting to toss these bones, sniffing my hair, wondering why I look so different. Because American classrooms aren't taught that Africans and indigenous mix, while European men taught our mothers that if we marry them, we will better the race. And these mothers and fathers and warriors and kings no longer had a home, leaving me two Spanish last names, Garcia Chavez. Nothing like Atahualpa, the Incan warrior who died defending his. So my identity was lost to a purchase. Never known my identity was purchased on the cross by the highest name. And I wasn't called to be an image bearer just to be chained. And though my first language is reminiscent of who was the master, all I have is pictures of my grandparents and my reflection to remind me, to remember those who left me distinct features in oral tradition. Loving my ancestors' genes that couldn't be washed away to make me non-existent. Never forgetting how they did to, what they did to my mothers so long ago, whose only crime was to be beautifully different. Who held families together and raised sons and daughters to be warriors like Guaya and Gil, who stood up to the Spanish to protect their people and land, killed. Call me a remnant and let my eyes, my skin, my hair be the bridge that connects me back to my land, back to my body, to the rubies and gold and coffee and cacao, to the ancestry they tried to erase when they raped mothers and land as they continue to do, Columbusing my block, taking and taking and taking until I'm stripped naked again and again and again. A poor speaker like Moses, chosen to be the voice for the voiceless. Has my people grown like the Israelites did to be freed from the bondage of xenophobia, Trumpisms, United States romanticism? Praying my daughters will know their history. Hoping my sisters won't let the one raping her teach her who she is, what she is worth. My sister, my daughter, you have warrior genes, only surrender to the throne. Take pride in that piel, in those eyes that hold deaths, in those lips that tell stories, in that hair, that crown of glory, hermanita. Little sister, you are beautiful.
Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? PK made me, son. All right, cool. I'm gonna get the New York accent down one day. All right. All right, we're gonna start with Preston with feedback. I'm sorry, Ezekiel.
Okay, yeah, you put yourself in that poem. Like, there are a lot of things that you did that I teach some people not to do, especially when they begin. A lot of things like making allusions to things that are particular to culture, but if you don't know how to do it and don't know how to own it, then it sometimes confuses people. But everything you said in Spanish, everything you that cacao and all that, I was like, yo.
What she say? What she say?
Cacao, right? I know. I actually know what that is because I studied, but that was good stuff. I think the content just got better and better for me when you began to expose some of the things that you talked about. It's just such a big conversation. I could see you doing that in an arena, just being able to kind of wake people up to their true identity. I love some of the things you said. Columbusing our blocks, and man, women don't let the one who's raping you give you your identity. It's almost like that's a whole like talk to us, everyone. Like don't let. Man, there's so much you said in that could be applied in so many different ways. So I appreciate the poem as itself, and I love how you put yourself in that piece. Yeah, go.
I would echo what Ezekiel said and just say, like, I love your confidence. I love the way that you own the stage. It is probably that Brooklyn, but I think it's also just her, as is it. And just I like conversational pieces, you know. I really appreciate how engaging the poem was. It's like I wanted to hear what was next. I wanted to hear what cultural reference you would make, or what reference about New York you would make, or womanhood you would make. So like I was waiting to hear with excitement everything that you would say, and educate us, ma'am. Yeah, great job.
Thank you so much, Sincerity. Yeah. So New York is still in the building, though. Where are you, man, from New York? Where, if you from New York, make noise. Is it really that many of y'all? Or y'all just loud? I feel like it's a lot, or y'all loud. I can't tell. It's both. It's like, it feel like the whole room. It's like the legacy is in Chicago, right? Okay. Y'all was all on the same plane, Southwest, huh? I see, huh? All right, so real quick, we're gonna go to the next poet. Y'all give it up for New York's as well. Give it up for Chris Lilly.
10 lessons learned from spending the night in jail. 1, upon getting arrested, state your name, your home church, as well as your pastor's name slowly and clearly so that the cops know that they're taking into custody a man of God. 2, if your arresting officer makes a joke and it isn't funny, you should still laugh. He has the keys to your handcuffs. 3, when being transported in a police cruiser, do not move or squirm or wriggle too much in the backseat. They will think that you are trying to hide evidence, even if you got arrested for some ridiculous mess like not paying train fare. 4, when the holding cell doors close, resist the urge to sing Negro spirituals. 5, after being in a holding cell for 3 hours with no word on when you'll be processed, begin singing Negro spirituals. Know that your ancestors sang them to remind them of God, of the homes they left behind, of the families that loved them, and the freedoms that they yearned for. 6, when you call your mother, pray that you get her voicemail. 7, when you're brought to central booking, observe the 34 other men you'll be spending the next 12 to 16 hours with in the same cell with no shower and 1 toilet, and if you should come across a young man named Brownie, hair cornrowed, the flag of Puerto Rico emblazoned across his chest, and his feet pungent and either smelling of really bad meat or really good cheese, do not engage. I repeat, do not engage. This is not a drill. 8, there will be a man. He will be selling quarters for the payphone. He will sell each quarter for $1, and people will buy them. 9, when your public defender walks in, looks at your file, and says that you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, hold your tongue. Don't ask when is it the right place and time to walk down blocks shaped like firing ranges. To be considered villain before hero, to be troublemaker before citizen. Don't open your mouth and ask what Mike Brown's lawyer would have said, or Amadou Diallo's, or Sean Bell's, or Emmett Till's, or Trayvon Martin's, or Eric Garner's. Don't even flinch when she calls you lucky. You tell her that you are thankful. You tell her you are blessed because God has afforded you due process for a petty crime when others have died for so much less, because your breath still flows, your clothes ain't stained with eulogies, your name isn't a national headline. You tell her that you are the result of a praying mother, a ministering father, and a God who will never leave the righteous forsaken or his children begging bread. You tell her that your God isn't subject to the chains that held you and that he's known for shaking foundations to set captives free. 10. Remember foundation shakers. Remember Nelson Mandela. Remember Martin Luther King Jr. Remember Paul. Remember Silas. Remember Jesus. Remember good men who made temporary home of brick and mortar and steel and shackles. Remember those men who stayed true when those shackles closed, when those chains locked. Remember the chains. Remember the change. Remember the chains before the change. Remember God breaks every chain. Remember broken chains. Remember broken chains. Remember broken chains and broken shackles and broken bodies and broken hearts. Remember God uses broken things to produce beauty. Remember it takes broken soil to give crops, broken clouds to give rain, broken grain to give bread, broken bread to give strength. Remember your strength. And when you become acquainted with your weakness, let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich. And let those who would say their lives are over, let them say I am still here. Remember you are still here. Remember every day above ground is a good day. Remember every second chance is a miracle. You are not a casket. You are not an autopsy. You are not a hashtag funeral. It is not over. God ain't through with you yet. You are not dead. You are not dead. You are not dead. You are still here.
All right. All right, all right, all right. You got a show. Ain't no shout music, y'all. It don't keep going, all right? It don't. It's like, there's an 11 o'clock service after this, okay? Like,
Yeah.
9 o'clock don't get shout, okay, y'all? See.
Wow.
All right. New York is in the building one more time. All right.
I've been serving a long time, so I'm a star.
All right, so Preston Perry.
So, I'm trying to gather my thoughts, bro. Yeah, so I remember a couple years ago, the first time I saw you, I had an event with you in New York. And it's obvious that you're a great writer. Like, you're a really good writer. You can tell that you are used to performing. But I think you are, which is scary, a better communicator. You're a very, very, very clear communicator. I mean, a lot of times people can be good writers, but their communication, just because you're a good writer doesn't mean you're a great communicator. Like, you are, like, even in the beginning when you crack jokes and went in from being serious to being funny, like, you kept us engaged and like, I saw everything from being in prison, from being in the taxi cab. Like, you communicated a message very, very well. Also, too, your crowd control is really, really impressive. Like, you control the crowd. You like, literally have the crowd in your palms. Even when the crowd got louder than your voice.
I'm in nobody's palms but God's. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sound doctrine.
Yeah. Even when the crowd got louder than you, you still controlled a very loud crowd, which is hard to do. You didn't stop. You didn't let it frazzle you. You still owned the crowd. And then lastly, I would say I was very impressed how you touched on a lot of things, but still brought it back to biblical truths that were accurate and not biased. So in my opinion, the poem was a 10. It's a great poem.
Ezekiel?
I guess we're all gonna comment. I don't really. There's nothing I can say. I actually peeped you already. I saw that poem already on Facebook, and I liked it. But here,
did you click like?
I don't remember. I think
like
so.
It.
I
He
might
didn't
have.
He didn't like your poem.
Maybe.
Like it. Now he likes because he saw other people like it, so he's.
No, but being in the room Was it the energy that you brought, man? It's so much, man. The delivery, everything was great, man. You really engaged me. I'm super impressed, man. That's all I can say, but bravo, man, bravo.
Ito.
Real quick, I just want to say that I love the way that you like pick out creatively the truth in your experience. So we're not just hearing your experience, like we're hearing things that are convicting and things that are correcting, things that are motivating us to be Christ-like in difficult situations. And then I just love good performance. Probably because performance is an area that I think I'll always be growing in, but just the skill of the pacing again, but also, yeah, controlling where your poem goes. And I use this term, submitted partnership, and I think that, like, your words and your creativity is in submitted partnership with the gospel. Like, you're letting the Lord use what you created, you know, like marriage, like there's a submission to it, but there's a working together and a guiding to point to the gospel.
Come on,
and
Deaconess.
I got that in your poem, and that's dope because your poem was about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's about God and his faithfulness during those things, during those times. So great job.
Good stuff, Chris. Give it up for Chris Lilly. Wow, that was amazing. All right, so moving right along, we're going to keep it going. Now, please put some energy in your hands. Put some energy in your hands for Stephen Logan.
Dear Donald Trump, you don't know me, but I'm 40%. 40% that didn't vote for Hillary, 40% that didn't vote for you, 40% that didn't vote at all. I've come to realize that ballots at voting booths don't make black skin bulletproof. There are more holes in your policies than dead bodies, and I know. I know these words irritate skin like bad infection on those who share my melanin because this announcement sounds like Dr. King stopped dreaming, like freedom stopped ringing, like Rosa Parks sat in the back of the bus, like 1960s activists marched until socks were soiled with blood for no reason, and like civil rights was just a whispering myth on the tongue of corpses. And you see, it's believed that my absent ballot aided your presidency. No, sir. It was a silent protest against a nation that conveniently exercises its Miranda rights, remaining silent when my black body drops like dead fly at autumn's fall. Mr. President, you epitomize the America that my ancestors gave their last breath waging war against. The America that deems black three-fifths human, the America that tells women that their place of residence is beneath a man in silence when in his presence, hashtag masculinity is so fragile. The America that blames rape victims for having hidden messages stitched into their garments that the sight of cleavage makes men victims, and somehow her mouth can tell you no, but her body screams, grab me, and, well, see, it's your croak, so you get my point. But honestly, sir, you are nothing new. Mankind has endured your kind before. The likes of a Nebuchadnezzar that wants to burn the Abednego, Shadrachs, Meshachs, and the Colin Kaepernicks for not worshiping Trump idols or an American flag. The likes of a King Herod that wants the destruction of brown boys because they are threatened by your power. And the list continues on of evil leaders seeking to establish their empire here on earth, provoking the Trinity to Kendrick Lamar them in their diaphragm in order for them to sit down and be humble. In order for them to sit down and be humble. In order for them to sit down and be humble. Sir, when you say this, you have this grand master plan of making America great again, please explain to me how are you going to make this country great for everyone that doesn't look like you or wear white-robed hoodies. So when you say this, my neck tasted lynch in the same rope that gripped my ancestors' neck, gripping it like ball fists, swallowing death, dangling from tree like Christmas ornament in December. My nose can smell the burning epidermis of 4 teenage girls dying inside of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. Do you even know their names? So how can you make this country great when white privilege gives your boys in blue permission to beat black boys until their eyes are star-spangled, until crimson flows from their bodies like a red river behind 13 bars, 13 strikes? 13th Amendment designed to keep us in prison for your profit, yet you have the gall to ask blacks, what else do we have to lose? Ask the Native Americans whose land got jacked by the original illegal immigrants, first name British. Ask the 7 Muslim nations that you recently served an eviction notice to. Ask the Latinos, Hispanics, and Mexicans who you degraded to being raping, thieving drug lords. Sir, if you haven't noticed, every day I run the risk of losing my life because my complexion is the same color of the revolver around the waist of a cop. And don't let me be black and educated. Now I'm just armed and dangerous, and I can continue to rant and rave about you. But your presence as president provokes a new question. Since when did a presidential seat dethrone the kingdom of God? And what is activism without active faith? To believe that the same God that changed an Abram to Abraham, Jacob to Israel, and assassin Saul to Apostle Paul, this same God can take a President Donald into a worshiping David if he would just stop grabbing Bathsheba's. So, I will Kendrick Lamar my own self in my own diaphragm, sir, and humble myself and pray for you, allowing my Christianity to supersede my activism, praying that you will stop being the lion with no courage, tin man with no heart, and the crow scaring the nation with no brain, so that the David lying dormant can finally come to the forefront. Sincerely, a concerned black man.
Yeah. I told y'all we got writers in here, though. I told y'all we got writers in here, dog. Barzy. Barzy, that's what I call it. It's an adjective. You can use it if you like. It's Barzy. That was Barzy. All right, so we're going to go to our judges real quick. Starting with, y'all decide the order now.
Okay,
so I'm
very
to
good.
y'all.
So that's my boy, Steven, man. I see the growth since our last conversation, man. Amazing writing, really, really good writing. The only thing I would say is, work on the articulation just a little bit. There's some places where I just didn't catch what you were saying because I don't think you articulated some words as I would have wanted you to. But the bigger thing is, I think this piece was what we call an argumentative style piece or a persuasive piece, style writing, meaning is heavily opinionated. All of those things that you're saying, they're coming from your heart or from your mind, and you're trying to convince us that what you're saying is valid. What I think may be a little bit dangerous to do when you tie in Christian themes to something that's super opinionated, because now you have something that is infallible and you're tying it to something that may be fallible, like our opinion. So if I were to rewrite that piece, I would write it kind of void of, the biblical principles, because does God stand behind, or is Scripture in line with everything that you're saying? I'm not saying it's not, but did you sit down and say, okay, this, and that? And so I would probably have not made it a Christian theme piece. It would have just been a piece like, Dear Donald Trump, this is how I feel about you, avoid of, my faith. So that's what I would have done a little bit differently, but you blew me away, man. Great job.
Oh. Preston.
Yeah, I agree, man. I've heard you, I think this is probably my 3rd time hearing you, and your writing has grown a whole lot. Like a whole lot. I can tell that you worked on your craft, and I can appreciate that a lot. I would say in your performance too, try to work on your body posture. Sometimes your head's cocked to the left a little bit or whatever. Try to make eye contact with the crowd and engage us with your eye contact, your body movement, stuff like that. And also just to piggyback off of what Ezekiel said, I think I think it's important when you address like a deep topic like that, to always kind of like leave room for hope, even for the person that you're communicating. All while you was doing the poem, I was thinking about what hope does Donald Trump have if he ever heard that poem? What hope does he have for himself? I remember when I wrote this poem called Dear Mike Brown, and I wrote it from a very emotional place because I related to this guy. But writing the piece, I wanted to think about, man, what if Darren Wilson, the man who shot Dear Mike Brown here, is it hope for him? You know what I mean? It's a hope for the mother. It's a hope for everybody involved, even if I don't agree with what they're saying or what they're doing. So I think that's what the gospel does. The gospel addresses heart issues and addresses social issues, but it still leaves hope for everybody. So just make sure the piece is balanced in grace and in facts, if that makes sense. So.
Dope. Yo, please give it one more time for Stephen Logan. Yes, sir. I also forgot to mention two things. One, the winner of this competition is going to be performing tonight at the Storytellers Poetry event featuring myself, Ezekiel, Preston, Carmen Lasant, Melody Evans, and other names I'm dropping off right now. Sarah Manko, the girl who won the Poetry Slam last year. Yes. Yes. And she's like, don't cheer for me. I'm just. And then two, real quick, very serious note. I hate to kind of drop down the kind of mood before we go to the next person, but I have a new single out on Spotify and Apple Music. It's called Make Me Believe. You can download it. It's on Google Play as well. Joseph Solomon, search that. Yeah, so we're going to keep moving to... I ain't got no shame. There's now no condemnation. That's not the context of that scripture, I know. All right, so next, why are y'all still yelling? Oh my gosh. So, all right, next, oh my, she's still, okay, next is Millicent Campbell. Y'all give it up for Millicent Campbell.
I wonder how many times Eve had to stand naked in front of a mirror before she felt no shame in front of Adam. With no prototype to compare, did she know that she was perfect? One breast bigger than the other, that freckle out of place, and her smile not straight. Maybe she knew that her asymmetry was God's signature. A guarantee of her uniqueness, with no clothes to hide behind. Did she know that she was perfect? Did the hair on her arm rise in honor every time a breeze went by in the garden? An indicator that she was in the presence of the Holy Ghost, the Holy One that breathed into her the breath of life. Did she breathe deeper? Was her breath stronger? With power, words gave life to dead things, identity to anonymity. Did her heart beat faster? Was it braver? Her ribcage, borrowed armor from Adam's side. Before cynicism, it was the only thing to protect it. Maybe she found strength in her vulnerability, naked at all times. Before shame creeped in, what was her stride? Was her head held high, eyes to the sun, mind filled with light? For she knew God, and God created good things like this body and these hips that sway in rhythm to nature's dance, these breasts that sit up top or fall like gravity, this back that bends like winding roads but never breaks. Before catcalling and ass grabbing and the fear that every woman has when she walks outside the door, what was it like to be naked and unafraid? To stand unhidden and unarmed like all of God's creations, boasting in its beauty and the subtle strength of its weakness. To have lips that babbled and laughed, tongues that danced in tune and out of tune with bird songs, hair curly or straight, uncoiffed masterpieces. This body is a masterpiece. This body is a work of art. the masterpiece, works of art, legs that spread like blank canvases, concealing the greatest mystery man has ever known. Hips that crack to give life, brush strokes around a woman's curves, texture added when stretch marks appear. Acne, scuffed knees, cellulite, these scars say I've been bruised, but I'm healed. I'm finding that shame is a disease whose cure is not perfection, but the acceptance of not. Thanks.
So first off, this is definitely the first time somebody cussed in Legacy. Was that on live stream? I bleeped that. The Kojic folk in here was like, oh my God. Show where they swinging their hips. That is not of God. I'm just joking. I love that type of writing that's like that peers into like the past. Like, man, what? Like, let's ask all these like deep philosophy. I'm not a judge right now, but I loved it. I love the poem. I love the riskiness of it, and I love.
You're not a judge.
Look, can I get my feedback? I loved it. I loved it. It was. We've never heard a poem like that before. I'm in a good way though. I loved it for real. All the girls in there stood up. Who run the world, girl? Okay. Shakira singing in the background. No, my hips don't lie. All right. Okay. Who's going first? Ito.
I love the tone of your voice and the way that you command the stage without changing it is beautiful. And I forgot the rest of my notes. Sorry. Oh, so yeah, your piece is a beautiful example of how you can be clear with your poem, but not necessarily say it directly, and then make that final statement at the end. That second to last line, I started to write it down, but then your poem was over. I didn't want to miss the last line. Do you know what I mean? It's the shame line. What's that line?
Finding that shame is a disease whose cure is not perfection.
Yeah, clearly, beautiful line, and obviously the driving point and the driving message behind her poem. And oftentimes in poetry, we can't catch that or hear that or understand her intention. And that was very clear and done really well in closing.
Dope. The first things you said, I was gonna say, like almost verbatim. I think the way you control a crowd without having like a big, loud voice is dope. That's really dope. I was engaged. Even when you didn't make voice inflections, I still was engaged because you spoke with so much passion and conviction with your soft voice. So I think that you're a great writer. Your writing was really, really good. The only thing I will say, if I had to give you critique, I would be careful. So me personally, I'm not offended when people say the word ass.
Everybody tweeting Preston Perry just.
So me personally, I mean,
fell out the faith.
Live at Legacy.
I'm around just as much heathens as I am Christians throughout my week, and I'm around some Christians who curse. So I'm personally not offended by it, but I will say I think it's very important to understand your crowd, because what understanding your crowd does will help you communicate to your crowd effectively. Because if you do things to a certain crowd and will make certain people in the crowd shut down to you, your message is kind of pointless after that. And some things you can do and say can eliminate your message before you can even communicate to them. So somebody in the crowd probably shut down because you said.
Look, they got Snapchat ready now, though.
Huh?
They got the Snapchat ready now.
You know what I'm saying?
Say it. Go ahead, say it. I got it.
You know what I'm saying? So just be aware of your crowd. If you was in Brave New Voices, you probably could have said it 4 times. They wouldn't have cared. But, you know, some Pentecostal people in here probably text their pastors when you did it.
Second time.
So just be aware of that.
Man, so ain't nothing wrong with growing up Pentecostal, dog.
Hey, my auntie, my grandma Pentecostal. Oh, but, hey, you're a good writer. Good writer.
All right. Y'all please give it one more time for Millicent Campbell. Thank you so much. You cut my mic off. All right. So I think this is the last. Is this the last one? This is the last. Wow, this has been this has been good so far, y'all. This is a good lineup. We got one more poet. And then we're going to deliberate. Y'all please give it up for Beloved.
Hey, friend. I would say I hope this letter finds you well, but I'm not gonna lie to myself. You're not okay, see. I know the thunders that rage inside your mind, leaving you without Durant a time you wish you could have, or be, or feel loved. I know you very well, see. I know how you walk around with these mutant abilities of invisibility, wishing you could be a norm and not feel like you've been branded with an X. Man, I know they left you rogue. Maybe even angered from your deprivation of touch that you have left hope in the back pockets of your jean gray. Skies are all you see because storm is all you face, and it has left you blue because if only you could be someone else, because anyone else beats who you are. Mystique, I know how those who claim they love you are the main ones who make you feel unworthy of love, how you're only picked out of convenience and not want, how there is this hot, burning desire to be desired that lets first degree burns all over your self-esteem, that you have accepted rejection as your destiny. Trust me, I know and know these are not just sweet melodies played in sympathies. I mean, I live this. And I know you right now are shaking your head in disbelief, but what if I told you we are just different chapters in the same story? But right now you're going, nah, you ain't got nothing on me. Oh yeah, well how about I start off my summary with the fact I got married out of trickery. Walk down the aisle with a veil, not out of customs, but to hide my identity, because that was the only way a man would ever say I do, because he don't. They never do. Afraid of the truth that every time he held my hand or whispered, I love you, or looked my way, or any romantic gesture, it wasn't truly to me, but who he thought I was, my sister, dreading the big reveal, because then I could no longer pretend to be loved. You know, his wife, correction, his first wife, merely second in his heart. You won't believe I even bought extra nights for my sister so he could spend them with me. My very husband dedicated our first 3 children to him, giving everything I could so he could finally love me. I just couldn't understand exactly why am I so hard to love. What must I do? What is it about me? Why won't you love me? At least see me. But see, I never truly experienced love because primarily I never loved myself. I let the words spoken over me by my father soak into the depths of my heart till my mind took root of it, producing poisonous fruit that I ate and surely died inside. But friend, that was not the end, because I found life on the other side when I realized I can't make anyone love me. And you know, more importantly, I was done trying to, because the love and acceptance of others do not measure my value as a woman, as a human. No one deserves that right, and I was done giving that authority to everybody but God. Friend, please listen to me. Don't wish to be or to be like anybody else, because there is something that God has in store for you and you alone. Trust me, there was a twist in the plot of your life. Believe in love and the love of God, and you'll see how he'll trade you beauty for your ashes. So you let them burn. Every negative word spoken over you, you let them burn. Every negative thought and feeling, let them burn. Your tears have not fallen on barren land, but have watered the seeds of a plan destined for you before your very existence. Don't you worry about them. Give birth to your Judah. Grab a grip on praise. Find strength in faith, and soon you'll see how out of all of this cement will grow the most beautiful testimony. Sincerely, Leah.
Yo! Yo, 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 yo.
We're going.
This is some bars in here, son. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Preston.
Before I critique you, I just want to quickly say, I think I've done judge like 4 or 5 years. I mean, this is the best poetry slam I feel like we've had. All of y'all were like super dope, and I just don't say things just to say it. Y'all dope. I would say, once again, you are a very, very strong writer. Very strong writer. I can tell that you're used to performing. I will say, for clarity, you wasn't as clear as I would like you to be. I don't know if I'm just dumb. But I did understand your message as you went on. I think that I forget who it was. It was a poet. I think it was the Brooklyn girl, who had very deep writing, but from jump kind of like let us know what she was talking about, and then she took us on a journey. I kind of like went on a journey with you, not like blindly, not really knowing where you were going. And like, oh, we here, okay, got it. But other than that, good job. I think that you are a very good communicator. I think you did a really good job at engaging the crowd, making eye contact, and it seems like you're comfortable on the stage. So yeah, good job.
Yes, indeed. Ezekiel.
Yeah. I think you really captivated people. I really like the way you use your puns, because it didn't sound corny. You did them well. Like, man, I pay attention to that stuff, and I wasn't even expecting some of them. I'm like, wow, that's really good. One thing I really wanted to see, like, you started bringing up this story about you getting married, and I want to hear more about that. I don't know about y'all. I'm like, wait, you got 3 kids? What happened? You was wearing a veil. What? Okay, yeah. So I think like we're personally, I don't think I enjoy poetry as much as I enjoy stories. I've seen poetry, but what I haven't seen is you. I want to know about you. So when you have an opportunity to kind of spill personal experience, like, do it. Like, that could have been like the bulk of it so that we can find some common ground with you, and then you could kind of explore and encourage us. But I wanted to know what you went through. I wanted to know where you failed, where you felt rejected, so that I can kind of find that common ground with you to go from there. But I mean, great performance. Of course, you know what you're doing. But for further, if you have an opportunity, write that book. Write that. Like, I want to know about that story.
Yes, one more time for Beloved. Yo. So we're about to start deliberating. We're going to find out as Lauren, the college graduate, she's in accounting. She's an accountant now. So you know these scores are going to be accurate. She knows numbers. So we're going to find out who's going to win this, and she needs a few moments. So this me saying these things, these words that are coming out of my mouth right now, as you're listening, you're paying attention. This is me stalling. This is me buying time. Was that lazy? That was a lazy one? Okay. Do another poem. All right. I don't have a lot of poems. Nah, I'm good. That's awkward. That's awkward. This is the Poetry Slam. Okay, so. Not a day went by in my childhood that my skin was not decorated with scabs of honor and glory. I was proud that I played hard. I wore wounds like badges at a military banquet. Proof that I was a real boy was the marks on my face and nose from diving headfirst into pavements that hit back harder than the truth. On the first day of school, I ain't know which to show off first. My new shoes, some pastel Vans, you know what I'm saying? Or the skin peeling on the back of my leg from last week's bicycle accident, and I couldn't wait for it to scab over so I can pick at it. Yes, I'm one of those people, but I don't eat them. That's gross. I'm not one of those people. I was fascinated by my body's ability to make itself whole again whenever a piece of it left. Every neighborhood I lived in, I literally left pieces of me in the streets and in the yards. I'd come home, stumble into the bathroom. My mom would pour 2 shots of alcohol into the gash. I couldn't tell y'all which hurt worse, the fall or the alcohol, but at least I loved the way it sizzled on my skin and still stung, made the little sizzly bubbles or whatever. Right? My mom smiled. Maybe next time you'll be more careful. Well, maybe next time, Mom, you'll buy the Band-Aids with the Ninja Turtles on them because these plain brown ones are boring. Maybe get X-Men, Wolverine's mutant powers can help me heal faster than the average human. She told me, don't pick at it. It only makes the healing process longer. Don't call her. Stop stalking her Facebook. It only makes the healing process longer. Funny, I grew up and still tried to use alcohol to clean my wounds. This time as an effort to take away the sting. One time I fell in love. All right, so like 2 times I fell in love. I couldn't tell y'all which hurt worse, the falls or the alcohol. My mom smiled. Maybe next time you'll be more careful or be more prayerful. Mama, I've been more careful. Okay, Mama, I'm not raising my voice. I'm sorry. Not raising. I'm just scared to scar again. I'm afraid people will laugh at the way I bleed. These scars and scabs somehow simmer us to be safe, make us fearful to commit to love people, make us fearful to commit to sacrificial love to people, which is good in some way, right? But y'all, life and love are risky, and we let our wounds win when we won't dare the danger again. We let our wounds win when we won't dare the danger again. Scars is what makes us human. Scars is what makes you human. Scars is what made God human. Jesus, after all the pain and rejection, still the only thing he couldn't commit to was a grave. Y'all, wear your scars like a new necklace on Easter. Show them this is what real resurrection looks like. No fear in love, and no shame in rejection. You got the calculator app, or you like?
It's a good piece, Joseph. It's a good piece.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was good job, judges. You right. So.
Hurry up, Lauren.
I got another poem out right now. It's called Silhouette. It's a really short joint. I could do that one. I feel so awkward right now. It's like, yeah. I feel like I'm the dude like behind like the Subway counter. Like, well, I mean, you could get white bread or like you can get it toasted as well. All right. When she finds out you only loved her for her silhouette, how you only saw blank in the middle, how she is made of the stuff of stars and you only saw dust, how she is only most valuable to you in moonlight. When sex is not enough to make you forget she actually annoys you, she will feel more corpse than human. a mass of flesh for you to bury your fantasy in shame and shallow and shell. She is not a shell, nor a beach and sand for your recreation. What will God say for seeing her only as fragment and not whole and life and light, mirror of deity? You profaned a temple, you son of a woman. She cannot be wife and whore. You swipe at porn and lay dozens of stars at the altar of your lust, then try to make a wife in their image. It's so sick. It's so loaded, God complex. She sleeps next to ghosts. How can she find rest in your heart when it is a mausoleum? You will say, I love you. She will learn not to believe you. When she finds out you only loved her for her silhouette, she will hate you. And you will finally have to learn how to love her.
I was trying to end on a happy poem, and I panicked and did that one. All right, so people was like, wow, that's deep. I feel sad now, but that was deep. Let's get for some happy news now. All right, everybody, announce the winner of this here Poetry Slam. I'm gonna do the top 3.
So, all right. We're gonna do 3, 2, 1. All right, number 3 coming in third. And this, let me say, by the way, these numbers are like uber close. And I want to say that this, I do agree with Preston. This was a really, really, really good Poetry Slam. So y'all please give it up for all the contestants who smashed this joint. I hope you were inspired to write. I hope you were inspired to whatever you do as an artist. Man, I want to do it. I want to do something like that. And hopefully I'll see some of y'all in the Poetry Slam next year. All right, so coming up in third place, y'all please make some noise for Millicent Campbell. Yes. And coming in second place, put some energy in your hands. Please give it up for Deja Peterson. Yeah. And this year's Legacy Poetry Slam winner that will be performing tonight at Storytellers. Y'all please make some noise for Chris Lilly. For a moment like this, some people wait a life. Y'all supposed to keep cheering while I give theme music. Okay. All right, so I'll give it one more time for all of our contestants, for our winners. Y'all did so well. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are so amazing, all of you poets. So I'll see y'all tonight at Storytellers, also at General Session as well. Thank y'all so much for coming out to the Poetry Slam. Love y'all. Grace and peace. Nice job.
On and popping, Andy passing card at Stockton. All of a sudden labels chalking, asking for another option. Coppers asking why I'm speeding minor league. Major digging, try and take them through the precinct. Lawyer said you need a reason. Spot the kid on Spotify. Yeah. Seen the numbers, they don't lie. Yeah. Yellow birdie in the logo. We on 2 plus the Ocho. High stakes in my funds.